All right guys, here we are, day 2 of our Stainless Works headers and exhaust install on our 2014 Mustang GT. First and foremost, we're going to start off by doing an unboxing of the headers as well as the exhaust, just to kind of give you an idea what they look like, as well as what comes in the package in case you feel like you want to get yourself a set. We're going to start off here just by going ahead and opening the boxes and show you what's going on. So as you can see here, we have one of the boxes here from Stainless Works. This one has the headers in it, this one has the exhaust in it, so we're just going to go ahead and get opening. Now, every system from Stainless Works comes wrapped like this. It has a lot of cardboard and protective paper in here to protect the headers from shipping damages. So just go ahead and take this out. This particular order was a special order, so on this one it came with a free t-shirt and a hat. You won't get that with every single purchase. This was a Black Friday special that Brett purchased, so we got that with there. You do get, however, your full instruction manual, as well as a parts catalog, your O2 sensor extenders, a lanyard, sticker, koozie, and a couple beer opener, bottle openers, keychain tags here. This one came with a little Mustang, so you can see both of those there. See if I can get the camera to focus on them. Yeah, kind of, maybe. Both those come with that, and then you get, your bolts and gel and stuff like that for the install. So let's pull these headers out and let's take a look. The other nice thing about this system is that it's very easy to install. Each of the parts have exactly where they go, left and right. It'll tell you, where you are in the system while you're doing the installation. And here we are to the header. Again, headers are completely wrapped separately as well as with that paper and in the bubble wrap so that nothing happens to those. Let's get this open up so you can check it out. And there you are. You have one Stainless Works 1 7/8 header. Little badging there. All the way to the 3-inch collector. Ready to go. Now with that being said, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna get this car up in the air. We're gonna finish unboxing the rest of this stuff, and we're gonna start uninstalling the old exhaust system. So before we get started removing this old exhaust off this Mustang, we're gonna do a little cold start as well as a couple revs to kind of give you an idea of what the old system sounds like compared to the new one. So I'm gonna have Keegan start it up here. We'll let it idle for a few seconds so you can hear what it sounds like at idle, and then as well as a few revs, and then we'll start removing the old system. As you can see, this system is definitely very loud. Keegan's in the background getting ready to take this system off of here. So let's get this car up in the air and start removing the old exhaust system. We're gonna start with the catback system and then we'll work our way to the header. All right, now that we have the car up in the air, we're gonna take a look at exactly what we need to do to remove the old exhaust system. I do have some help here today. A couple people gonna be giving me a hand. We have Keegan and Dylan as well, sitting over there, hanging out. Let's see if we get a little, see if I can, show me your good side. Oh, it's too blurry, it's not gonna focus. Darn. So to get started, the biggest thing is we wanna make sure that we remove these mufflers first. You're gonna have to take off these hangers here, as well as remove these clamps to get these mufflers off. These clamps here where it connects to the mid pipe. And then we're gonna try to get these bolts loose where it connects to the actual header. And as you can see here, the BBK header is completely rusted out, which is causing part of the problem that he's having, as well as some bad welds here with some holes in it. You will wanna remove all 4 of your O2 sensors, front and rear. And then once you get all these bolts out, it should be pretty easy. This whole system should just drop straight down and you can remove it from the vehicle and then focus on the headers. So we're gonna get started with that. And we'll see if it comes apart easy. One of the things that we are going to run into some trouble is because the system has been on for so long, a lot of the piping is going to be seized together, especially here where the clamps are. After you undo the clamp and you bring it down, you should be able to move this back and forth. However, in this case, it's actually seized to itself, which is pretty normal, especially with the heat up and cooling down of the system. One of the easiest ways to remove this system without having to fight these hangers here is actually taking this bolt out. Let's see if you see it. This bolt out, which holds the hangers for the mufflers. And what that'll do is it'll give us access to be able to remove this muffler by itself, and it should give us plenty of room to be able to rotate these pipes to get them off as well. So that's what we're gonna do now. So now that we have that hanging bracket taken off, it's given us a lot of room to be able to move this muffler around. Again, it's still seized up here, so what we're going to do is we're going to use our trusty rubber mallet here. Don't worry about the duct tape, it's fine. To try to beat this muffler off, that way it doesn't dent any or damage any of the components on there. You should be able to rock it back and forth by hand if you can. This is a good alternative. If it really comes down to it, what we'll be able to do is take a crowbar and try to pry it off, or we may have to start doing some cutting. So as you can see, pretty simple. Remove the rear mufflers. This down piping actually came right out when we removed the rear muffler, so it made it pretty easy. We are having some issue with this pipe, however, because it does hit this axle as well as this panhard bar here. So what we're going to try to do is we sprayed some penetrating fluid on these rusty bolts. Hopefully we should be able to get these off, and then we'll be able to rock this whole system forward, which should make basically all of that come off pretty easily. So one of the things that we're going to do first before we start removing this mid pipe is we're going to try to get these O2 sensors out of here. The biggest reason being is that right now it's supported, so it should be a lot easier to get these O2s out. Once we take this mid pipe off, these headers are going to flex a little bit and it could cause issues removing the O2s, so it's much easier to try to do it right now. We did spray them with penetrating fluid to try to break them up as well. Penetrating fluid will be cleaned up before the new system is installed, but like I said, as rusty as this system is, we want to make sure that we can try to get as much of it out of it without fighting it as possible. All right, so we were able to get the first two O2 sensors out of the mid pipe here. This front one on this header gave us a little bit of difficulty again because it is pretty rusty and corroded in there. So we did have to use a little bit of a heat to heat this area of the header up in order to get that out, which it did break free nice and easily. However, we are having some issues with the passenger side. So Keegan has been basically spraying penetrating fluid on it as much as possible, and we're going to be heating it up here. And if we can't get it out, then we're just going to cut our losses and get a new one and go from there. So we're going to try to get that out now.
Go ahead and try to use this O2 sensor removal tool. It's got a little cutout for that wire to slip in there, so you can slip it right over. More leverage.
So just like we thought, it was seized in there pretty good. And I don't know, let's see if I can get the camera to focus here.
Really, it'd make no difference if we got it out or not.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell. You can see it there. We did get it out of the header itself. However, what we thought was going to happen did happen. It was seized in there pretty good. There you go, you can see it that way.
Yep, those threads are gone.
Threads are basically melted to themselves. So it's going to definitely need a replacement. Unfortunately, this is something that does happen from time to time, especially when you're dealing with rusty headers like this that have been on here for so long, especially with amount of corrosion on the whole system. Let me get that camera to focus there again. So we're going to be replacing that, but we are at the next step where we can start removing the H-pipe and hopefully getting this whole piece of the system off to at least finish up getting the exhaust off. All right, next step, just like those, unfortunately, those O2 sensors, is going to be trying to get these bolts out. The biggest issue with those is, again, they are completely rusty. We've been soaking them in penetrating fluid, and we're going to try to use some heat on both sides of these to get these broke free. The stainless work system comes with a whole brand new set of bolts and nuts for everything, so whatever breaks, it doesn't really matter because we have replacement parts for it.
We didn't have to use heat with any of these. Everything came off easy.
The number one rule there is spray it with penetrating fluid before you get started. That way when you're taking everything else apart, it has time to seep in there and work. Made it much easier not having to use the heat, but they came off real easy. The bolts are actually still intact, so if we do need to reuse them, we can. So now we're going to start taking off the rest of this. Hopefully it all comes off in one piece. We might have to grab that rubber hammer again. Go.
Jace didn't even do it. What not to do 101.
Oh no. All right, so the whole system is out now as far as the catback is concerned. Next we can start moving on, trying to get these headers out. The biggest problem is going to be that you actually have to rock this motor forward. Also, if you want to come in here and check out this piece, to remove this driver's side header, we will have to remove this steering linkage up here, which you want to bring the vehicle down, set the steering wheel straight, mark your steering linkage before you disassemble it. That way when you go to put it back together, you can make sure that your steering wheel is still straight. If it is slightly off, you may have to do an alignment as well as readjust the steering linkage, but we will find that out once we get down to it. So we're gonna bring the vehicle down, set the steering wheel, and we're gonna start trying to get these headers out.